going on? James is here. Hey, James. How's it going? All right, welcome everybody. I'd love if I could see your faces. Dan, thank you so much for showing your face. Sarah's trying to show her face. Jim is here. Eric's here. David's here. Thank you for showing your faces because it's fun to see your faces. It's fun to see who I'm talking to, fun to see some nods happening, understanding happening, because at the end of the day, I'm going to teach you something that can make you a lot of money. You guys good with that? Let me know. How do I know? It's because I do it today. I've taught my daughters how to do it, and I have a whole community now that I teach how to do it as well. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen real quick. Will you give me a 1? This is live. Will you give me 1 in the comments? Can you see the slides? Make sure we're good. And then I lost my chat. Here we go. Yes. Okay, Dan, you get Fast Finger Award. Congratulations. Okay, so I want to give you the unfair advantage to getting higher listings and creating more sales without using bad marketing, without taking years to get algorithmed. Anybody so sick of the word algorithm? I swear it's like waiting to win the lottery when you don't have a ticket. Like, let's go faster than that. Let's do something that we can control. And then without having to create a ton of content for social media. Okay, is this what you want to hear? Will you leave me a 2 in the comments? Leave me a 2 in the comments if I'm on track with this. Dan, Corey, Gary, Jenna, Kim. Okay, perfect. I want to make sure that I'm presenting the right thing to you and that this is what you want to learn. Okay, so let's dive in right here. Okay, I need to know, why do you want to make more sales? Why do you want to hear the cha-ching? Anybody ever like get into their back end and get addicted to the refresh button over and over, especially like when you are on a streak during 4th quarter and all the holiday sales coming in? Let me know. Why do you want this? A passion project. Anybody brave enough to say for money? Let me know. Make more money. Jenna, yes, thank you for being honest. Eric, yes. Perfect. 100%. Why do we want money? What do you want to do with the money? Do you want to pay for sports for the kids? Maybe your spouse is pregnant with a 3rd baby and you're living in a 2-bedroom apartment. It's time to get a house, right? You want to upgrade. Maybe some of you have towels from your high school years, your college years that you need to upgrade, right? Or go on a vacation or donate to some cause. There is a beautiful reason we are driven to want more stuff, because it motivates us to show up and sell more. What if you did all this for free? Your Etsy listings, your creating, your photography, your shipping, your stress, your learning. You think you'd really keep showing up every single day when you don't want to? Probably not. We'd get burnout. We would be so tired, right? And if we did all this for free, like, it's fun to be able to have money to be able to donate, right? Dan says, I would do this for free if I was independently wealthy. But Dan, I wonder, why is it? Is it because, you're going to see in just a second, because you're changing people's lives, right? We are supposed to be motivated by things because it drives us to keep showing up. If we weren't, a lot of us would just be watching Netflix and eating chocolate in our closet, right? Wanting money to buy things in life is a good thing. But I want to go somewhere bigger, and I need to go somewhere bigger with this concept because you'll see in just a second, okay? So if we look to see what sales are, right? It means if we're getting someone to hand us money, a piece of paper with a guy's face in it, it means that we're putting value into the world. So when Dan's out there, he's putting value into the world, and that's why he keeps showing up, because he's giving value out there. That's what the soul of sales really are. Your product is solving someone else's pain point, making their life better. Okay, so sales equals value. So do you have, like, tell me the niche of your product. Like, in the comments, tell me the niche of your product. And when I start talking about selling products, people are like, Allison, I sell wall art. It doesn't give value into the world. Well, do you see this painting behind me right here? You want to know what's on the other side? a big, huge hole. I have a hole in my wall. Guess who does not want to go to Home Depot, get the mud, get the tape, get the paint, get the paintbrushes to come home and do that? I don't want to do that. So instead, I bought a painting. She's given me so much value because then I don't have to go to Home Depot with my kids, right? She made my life wonderful. That's putting value into the world. So I don't have to fix anything. Perfect. Okay, wall art too. Yes, 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 digital art. Perfect, perfect. So when someone comes to me and says, Allison, I just sell stuff, I don't provide value, I want you to just think about why you do what you do. Because isn't that why you buy your stuff? Like, take a second and look around you. What's something around you that you have bought recently that brings value into your life? I have that painting, right? I've got a pen that helps me to get my ideas out on my piece of paper. Like, why are you putting value out into the world? What is it? You do it. You buy stuff to increase your life. Your customers are doing that too, as well, to increase their life. People don't buy stuff to buy stuff. They buy stuff that improves their life. And once we can start thinking about that, then we see how sales equals value. I have one student who came to me, she's like, Allison, I sell jewelry. And jewelry doesn't put value into the world. And she was having such a hard time with it until she got an email back from her customer a couple of weeks later. And they said, okay, I just bought a necklace from you. My wife and I have been separated, and I bought it, sent it to her on Mother's Day. She opened it up, and we haven't talked in months, but she called me and we're going to work on our marriage. So by my student stepping up, providing a value, it has the potential to save generations, right? So I want you to always think, why do you do what you do? Is to put value out into the world. And when we do that, when we put value out into the world, this is where we start to grow, right? Because the more value we put out into the world, the more money that we make. That's why I'm doing this today, is because I want you to have so much money, with so much money left over, that you have to give it away. Because if we are getting so much money that we have to give it away, that means we're putting massive value out into the world, helping people solve their problems. And we would get rewarded with a piece of paper with a guy's face on it. And what does the world need right now? They need help. How do we help them? Our products go and solve their problems. More value, more money, more ways for you to be able to put money in your pocket. Like, I think about you right now. How many do we have on? 43 of you right now. You're giving it your all. You're learning. You're trying to figure out how to make more sales. You're very rare. You're a very rare person. And I'll tell you what, I'm kind of geeky excited to be able to hang out with you for the next hour, because you are changing the world. You are changing the world. Okay, so here we go. Now that you're like, yes, Allison, I want all that money. I want the money. I love when people say, I'm there, I want to put value out to the world, but I listed on Etsy and no one's finding me. Or you listed, right? And you're like, oh, I want to grow. And then you start going down the dark hole of the algorithm stinks. That's the algorithm. Man, they must hate me. You're like, people are doing their listings, making the product, and nothing is happening. And they're like, why doesn't Etsy help me? I've got my pictures. I've got the description. I've got the pricing. Why are my listings sitting on page 3020? Anyone ever have thoughts like this? Let me know. Like, why? What is going on? What is going on? Okay, let me know. No one's had this thought. Am I the only one? Okay, yes, Jenna, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I've had these thoughts, like, why isn't it getting listed, until I learn the game. How do I get found on Etsy? Okay, we have to learn the Etsy game. And here's a spoiler alert. It works for other platforms like eBay and Amazon. It's so cool. So I hope it's okay if I over deliver today and show you what I'm about to show you. It just doesn't work on Etsy, but it works on other ones as well. Other platforms as well. Anybody else listed on other platforms besides Etsy? Let me know. Not yet. Okay, perfect. Maybe this will get you inspired to do it. Perfect. Okay. So now in the comments, will you tell me about how many packages you're shipping out each day, month, or year? You can just give me an estimation. I'm not going to double check your numbers. You can tell me whatever you want to. Gary says 15 a day. Nan says digital. And downloads 1 to 3 a day. Jenna 15 or so. Okay, perfect. So Sven says 300. Okay, so Sven, I'm just going to use you for an example. Okay, so Sven's shipping out 300 packages a day. Congratulations, by the way. So Sven, if I come to you and I'm like, hey, Sven, I need you to do this. I need you to, I'm going to ship you a bunch of cards. And on the card, it's going to have a coupon code for people to go to my store and buy for me. And what I need you to do is I need you to slip these in every single one of those 300 packages that you ship out a day. What do you think Sven's thinking right now? Sven's probably thinking, heck, no. I mean, just imagine the amount of work that he's put in to be able to get to 300 packages a day, right? He is working on all the listings. He is working on all the products. He doesn't want a moocher to come in expecting and demanding all these things. But let me phrase it another way. Okay, so Sven, let me come to you and say, hey, Sven, would you be interested in a partnership? I'm going to give you half the products of anything that I sell if people use that coupon code. I mean, I did it for another company and we brought in $24,000 extra. And so if we divide that in half, you get like 12,000 cash, and it will take you like half a second to slip it in. Is that something that you would be interested in? And Sven probably would say yes, right? To make free money, who doesn't want free money? Everybody does. And this actually was a real story for me. If you've got a physical product that you're shipping out, make sure you're putting a coupon code in your packages for them to come back and buy another product from you. It is literally like free money and free customers coming back to your stores. Perfect. If you're doing digital, there are ways that you can do it as well. If you don't want to do the shipping, there's ways that you can do it as well. Okay, so figure out a way to get your customers to come back to you. It's like literally free money. It's so great. So great. It's lots of customer service, lots of customer support, but besides that, it's awesome. Okay, love it, love it. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to talk about demand versus a partnership. Okay, and I want to explain the difference between the two, and I'm going to go into a story because I have to set it up, because what I'm about to teach you, this is going to help you with the reason. It's going to solidify when you move forward on all these other platforms, what the game truly is to be able to getting a higher listing. Okay, so Etsy founders. Has anybody ever studied how Etsy came to be? I know, I'm a geek. I love listening to podcasts and researching how businesses came to be. Etsy is pretty fascinating. And when I tell you this story, I think you're gonna be like, what? This is so cool. Okay, so roll it back to 2005. 2005, we've got a guy named Robert, and he's like, you know what? I want to sell a handmade wooden computer. I want to sell it online. He went out there and he's trying to look for an e-commerce platform to sell it on, but a lot of them were complicated. And no one was catering to the homemade crowd. So he teamed up with a developer and a graphic designer, and they came up with Etsy. And did you know that's an Italian word for oh yes? And that makes me love Etsy even more. Oh yes is what Etsy means. Okay, so picture this. We got a guy named Robert. Okay, we got a guy named Chris, and we've got a guy named Hyam. 3 guys sitting around a table thinking about a business. I mean, they have families to take care of, 3 families. So they're like, let's go out and see if we can get some investing, some funding for this. And they go out and they get rejected like 50 times. They get rejected so many times. And then finally they find someone to come in and give them $50,000. Okay, so it's not like they're oozing with money. $50,000 does not go very far when you're building technology, let alone trying to support your family. 3 of them, right? They're risking everything to start this business. I can't even imagine the amount of tears, stress, rejection to build a business they weren't even sure about. And then also the amount of caffeine that they consumed, like it must have been bucket loads, right? And you know what, if we think about it, they were probably a lot like us. They just wanted a better life. They wanted to be fulfilled. They wanted to be able to buy the things to support their family to help them live that better life. I mean, Robert, what do you want to do? We want to sell a handmade product, right? Let's speed it up to today. Now they're one of the largest marketplaces in the world, which is so cool. And I looked up, this is so fascinating. I looked up how much Etsy pays in salaries and benefits and business expenses. Okay, this was in 2020. It was $1.2 billion. They're spending $1.2 billion for us to get an idea, to go list it on their website in a matter of minutes. And what do we pay? Like 20 cents. And then if it sells, it's what, like 6.5% fee? Oh my gosh. This is so great. We don't have to go out there and get funding. We don't have to know tech, right? No door-to-door selling, just a couple of clicks. I think this is absolutely magic. So let's go back to the example I had earlier of the flyer insert demand, where I'm like, Sven, put these in your packages. And Sven's like, go away. I don't want moochers, right? When people come into Etsy and they're like, I don't like the algorithm. It doesn't work. It's not fair. Come on, Etsy, show my stuff. This is demanding, right? Etsy's like, oh, no, I did all this work. You're not going to come in. What they're looking for are partnerships. Partnerships. Okay, when I went back to Sven and I'm like, hey, what if we split? What if we do something where we both benefit? Sven's more than likely going to say, yeah, let's do it. Okay, business to business. Etsy is a business. You are a business. What do businesses do? They support each other. They drive traffic, they bring in customers, and they make money. So if you are looking for partners, it's going to do just that. Okay, it's really a simple strategy. Make Etsy money, they make you more money. And they only take 6.5%. This isn't like Groupon where we're talking, they take 50%. This is 6.5%. This is great. And that 20-cent listing, you guys can shake that right out of your couch. Like, you got this, right? We need to have this partnership for it to become a win-win with both sides. Again, the strategy that I'm about to show you, we can use on other platforms. Okay, I'm actually using on Amazon right now as we speak. I had a meeting on Wednesday. And because of this, we're having 137% growth week over week because of this strategy. It's so cool. I've used it on Zulily, Jane, my own sites, so many other places. Like, it's great. Okay, but again, but how, Allison? How? Okay, so I've got a pretty little diagram coming out. You guys ready? Be impressed. I can't draw with beans, so just go with me here. Okay, so this is demand listing. So let's say we get a product. This is what the average Etsy seller does. Okay, they get a product, they go list it on Etsy, and then they call their mom or their best friend or their dad or their spouse, whoever, and they're like, go check out my Etsy listing. And so they go over, they check out the listing, and Etsy's like, a little bit's happening, a little bit's happening. Okay, so let's give it a little bit of a showing. Is anybody else interested in it? Let's see if anybody else is in. Anybody else gonna bite? Okay, the next day your mom gets busy, doesn't look. Etsy doesn't show anybody. Why? Because there's no activity on it. Nothing is happening. It's a standstill. But what we want to do is we want to go faster. Okay, we want to say, hey, Etsy, I'm here. I'm ready to show you that I want to play this game and build a partnership. And we need to get their attention. Okay, so here's my next diagram. Right here. Okay, so let's say you went out there to more people and you're like, hey, more people, look, I have a listing on Etsy. Lots of stuff's happening. Etsy's like, ooh, I'm going to show this to a lot more of the active buyers. Okay, we're showing Etsy that this is a good product, and Etsy's like, yes, let's go show it to more people. Etsy has 92 million active users. Crazy. Like, I think about Etsy that their cost of acquisition for all their customers, like I can't even fathom how much they've spent for us to be able to list a product for 20 cents. It's so cool. You guys, we live in the coolest age. We live in the coolest moment to be able to grow our businesses. I just can't get over that. I love that they are putting in so much for us to be able to partner with them. Okay, so here's the partnership game. The more sales you make on Etsy, the more they're going to promote you. You're showing up in a partner relationship versus a demanding one. Okay, is this making sense? And you don't have to tell your friends and family about it. You don't have to pay for ads and you don't have to giveaways. I know we've got some over here saying what you've done. Fantastic. If that's working for you, go for it. I want to show you something else. Okay. This is where you're like, well, how do we do this, Allison? I'm sure you don't want to go get on the phone with all your friends and be like, hey, can you go check this out? And then someone just asked to record this. We're going to send out a replay. So we got it for you. We've got you covered. We'll send you a replay on it. Okay. So my favorite thing is building a business without actually anybody knowing that I'm behind it. Is anybody an introvert here? And they don't want to be like the face of their brand, or they don't want to be telling every person on the elevator what they do and hang a business card. Jenna says me. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Like I love e-commerce because we can hide behind the computer. Magic. I know it's just magic. It's magic. Okay. And then we can scale it without being the face of our brand. And then ultimately we can sell it for big bucks. Right. So this is why I love the strategy so much. Okay. So let me keep clicking through. I animated that. Okay. So what we're wanting to do is get more people to go through to buy our product. Now, here's just a little short story. I taught my daughters how to do this. They did it on their own site. It wasn't Etsy, but they did it on their own site. I just wanted to see if it was, people could replicate it. And so I tried it with my daughters, and they were teenagers, 10 and 13. They made over 6 figures before they stepped into high school. Then I went and I showed my sister how to do it. And then I went and showed friends how to do it. And we still use this method today because it works so well. Anybody have teenagers? Can you imagine teaching them how to make 6 figures? It was a wild ride. Their first sales, they could not comprehend. Their first sales, they made like over $4,000. They were like, we don't even understand how much money that is. It was just super fun for them to be successful with this. Okay, now I've only got an hour. Hopefully we build in some Q&A at the end because I want to make sure that I serve you with this. And I'm going to go as fast as I can, but I'll just be honest with you. I can't go into every single detail, but you're going to have a really strong place to start. And then at the end, if you want to learn more, if this partnership sounds really good to you, I've got some additional videos and trainings that I can show you. Yeah, it's cool. So I just want to make sure this is a good fit for you. Okay, so what we want to do is for partnerships, let's look at the history. What successful partnerships have worked and why did they work? Okay, so Wheaties shows us some really powerful marketing lessons. Tell me in the comments, who was the famous athlete that you loved on the box of Wheaties that you looked up to? Was it Michael Phelps, Apollo? Mine was Mary Lou Retton. Anybody else Mary Lou Retton fan? Somebody's got to have a fan here on a Wheaties box. You're dating yourself. Dan, you tell me, are you Apollo or Mary Lou Retton? Let me know. Okay, not all from the USA. Okay, so take a famous person, a famous athlete, and stick them on your most famous, popular brand of cereal. Okay, this was just a great marketing way. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you the lesson here. Okay, so we have someone of influence, someone famous, a famous sports person. We have a product, the Wheaties box, and a place to buy it. Okay, so I have Mary Lou Retton, we have Wheaties, and we have a supermarket. All 3 of them are winners. Mary Lou Retton, because she has this great influence, gets paid. Wheaties makes the sales, and the supermarket takes a percentage of those sales. Okay, anybody know who this is? Not a sports guy? Shoot, Dan. I got Michael Jordan here. Hopefully you know who Michael Jordan is. If not, he is like the world's greatest basketball player. And Nike took a risk back in 1984 because he wasn't Michael at the time. He was kind of newer to the game, but Nike understood how this game but Nike understood how this game worked, okay? At the time, Adidas was the cool brand, but Nike got Michael Jordan, and their early orders brought in $55 million in sales. That was clear back in 1984 when money was a heck of a lot more than it is today, okay? So partnership, someone of influence had a product and a place to buy it. Michael Jordan, we got Nike shoes, and then the place to buy it, maybe it was Famous Footwear, where Nordstrom, wherever it is. Okay. All right. And what's so cool about this is it's actually gone through 3 generations. My kids wear Michael Jordan shoes. They've never even seen Michael Jordan play. I wear Michael Jordan shoes, and my dad wore Michael Jordan shoes. 3 generations. Okay. We're building these partnerships. Are you seeing the pattern here? Influence talks about a product and they buy in a certain place. This has worked for eons of times. I'm sure I go back to the Roman era to find examples, but I do not have time, any desire to go back that far. Mary, Lou Retton, and Michael were just better for me. Okay, so here's the really cool thing for us though. Okay, so back in the 1980s, the way to do this, TV commercials, radio, magazine, or newspapers. It was very limited and it cost millions and millions and millions of dollars. And I'm guessing that you don't have that lying around. Maybe you do, but for the majority of us, we have to use something that's a little bit more obtainable. And we literally all have it in the back of our pockets. Social media, okay? Who are people on social media? People of influence who aren't going to cost near what famous people charge. Okay, so think about it. Let's say we get a person of influence and they start talking about our product and they start sending them to a location to buy, Etsy, right? What's going to happen? Etsy's going to be like, whoa, something's happening. We didn't have to call our mom. We didn't have to call our sister. We didn't have to call our neighbor. We can use someone who's already playing the influencer game and partnership up with them. Imagine if you partnered with, I don't know, Michael Jordan. Probably send some traffic, right? Might even break your Etsy listing, but you'd get top listing forever, right? Okay, so if we, I love this quote, if there's a direct correlation between being resourceful and creating income. Okay, so what resources do we have at our tips? What can we do? What do we have? Commercials, famous people, they're out, but people of influence who hang out on social media are going to be a tiny fraction of the cost and can help send traffic. So when I start to talk about influence or influencers, creators is another word for them, bloggers is another name for them. A lot of people automatically go to Instagram. And a lot of people are like, okay, so I got to find someone on Instagram who's blonde, has a white kitchen, and 3 kids. I hear this over and over and over again. And I'm like, whoa. No, influencers are everywhere. So I've got a student, Wendy Kessel, she sells glitter. I hate glitter, but she loves it. So she worked with someone in a Facebook group. She teamed up, she partnered with someone in a Facebook group to talk about her glitter, and through traffic to her listing, and she made $2,000 to $3,000 in sales on one of her very first launches. Why? Because that whole Facebook group, they loved glitter. They weren't advertising to me because I'm like, burn the house down if it's got glitter in it. I hate glitter. She went to her perfect target audience in a Facebook group. Okay. And then now we're having this explosion of TikTok made me buy it. So, I mean, TikTok is out of control. Like, it's so great for us. They love being the face. They love doing videos. You don't love it, great. Find someone who does. And then if you're thinking, Allison, I don't know any influencers. I don't know any big influencers. Well, here's another bonus. We're actually having better results with smaller influencers, not the famous people, not the accounts with 100,000 followers, 500,000 followers. It's actually smaller ones. Joey, she was just starting and she sells this seasoning. And she was really skeptical of it. And she's like, okay, I found one with 200 followers, but I don't think it's going to create any sales. And I'm like, just try it. So she went out there, partnered up with them, and she sold over 200 bottles. She sold about the same amount of product as the influencer had following them. Those are amazing conversions. She is sold and she is growing her business. She's going to do it over and over and over. You do not have to find big influencers. And guess what? Joey didn't have a lot of followers either. She was little. She didn't want to be on social a lot. But influencers are looking for product-based business, digital-based businesses, something to sell to be able to create income. Okay. So I want you guys to know, okay, coming through. Dan, we're going to get to your question in just a second. Okay, so there's a lot of platforms. And this is where people start to feel overwhelmed. They're like, I got to find someone on Instagram. I got to find someone on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the places. I want you to pick one. I want you to pick one to start practicing on. Okay. Tell me in the comments, which platform do you consume the most? Are you Facebook? Are you an Instagrammer? Are you TikTok? Where do you spend the most of your time? Instagram, Facebook, Instagram. Okay, Facebook. Okay, stay where you're familiar, because this is going to help you to learn faster. You've already had the learning curve happen, so just stay there, okay? And I want you to start watching influencers promote other brands. I want you to start watching them, okay? So I was a junior high school teacher. I taught math and science, so I'm actually certified to give out homework. So I'm going to give you guys some homework, okay? I want you to find 10 people when you're scrolling who are selling stuff, okay? Find 10 people of influence who are selling stuff. And I just want you to watch, what are they doing? Look at the comments. Do they just post a link or do they talk about it? Because each platform is different. On Facebook, we do really well with a picture and a link. On Instagram, it has to be us talking about it for conversions to happen. So I want you to watch what is happening on your platform, because if you try and do the same thing on all the platforms, it's not going to work. Each platform is different, okay? You are now watching the magician, but you're not watching the trick. You're watching how the trick is done. And I want you to start watching, how is that trick done? And when we can learn this, and the stuff I'm going to show you a little bit more, is it's going to help you to find the influencers that convert. There's plenty of crap influencers out there who can't convert worth beans because they don't know how to sell, and that's okay. And they do their thing, you do your thing, and you're trying to look for those that actually know how to do this. In the last 5 years, over on my blog, we started 14 years ago. We've driven over $100 million in sales to businesses. This is the trackable. This isn't the untrackable. This is trackable business that we have sent. So does it work? Yeah. I got lots of businesses. Why? Because I know how this game works. I know how this game works. Okay. So I want you to start watching. How do they do the tricks? How do they do the tricks? Okay. That's your first homework. Okay, so here we go. I have a good friend named Shannon Tripp. She just is my neighbor down the road. And she was a pediatric ER nurse. And she started posting on Instagram about tips on pregnancy, how parents could handle stuff in different medical situations. And she grew organically. And she started at 1,000 to 10,000, went to 20,000. And Mary Ruth's, it's a vitamin brand, approached her and said, hey, do you want to do a partnership together? And she's like, sure. Shannon got paid in product. They didn't have to pay her any money. Shannon's like, sure, I'll do it. Yeah, I want to see if this works. I want to see if I can sell it. And so Shannon started selling this product and it was making sales. So Mary Ruth was like, oh, will you keep doing this? We'll give you some money. We'll give you a percentage of the sales. And Shannon's like, heck yeah. Now Shannon, as she's grown over the years, I think she's almost at 600,000 followers, has driven over $1 million in sales to Mary Ruth's and does this on a yearly basis. So cool, right? Shannon's not going to advertise any other multivitamin company because she doesn't want to. She's built a partnership with this company and they grow together. This is why I'm always like, start with smaller influencers. Don't start with the big ones. Grow together. learn, work, create this partnership. Then Shannon just recently teamed up with my medic, and they built a first aid kit. And I'll show you a screenshot right here. This is Shannon's Strip first aid kit. You can see it sells for almost $200. And she did her first launch. She talked about them on her Instagram, and they sold out of 5,000 first aid kits. I'll let you do the math on that, but that was at about a week in sales. How amazing. It's so fun. It's so fun to watch how these partnerships just can explode. Okay, this marketing strategy works as long as there's humans on the planet. I've seen way too many people try with one influencer and like, it didn't work. It didn't work. It's because they're not watching what the trick is. And I'm going to give you some of that in just a second. Okay. And Sarah Osler, I did a podcast episode with her. If you want my podcast, I talk a lot about influencer marketing because it works so incredibly well. She teamed up with an influencer, and it changed her whole life. Okay. So again, find person of influence. They talk about your product. They send it to a place like Etsy. And then Etsy's like, oh, something's happening over here. Okay. So here's an example. The blog that I have is called How Does She? We posted this Merry Christmas wreath. And I don't know, what do we say? This is a splurge more than a save. I think it's beautiful. So I had to share. So we're not saying go buy a cheap product. We're saying splurge and buy this expensive product. You can see right there, we sent 573 clicks over to this Etsy listing. Guess what happened to the Etsy listing? They sold out, and they had a lot of product and they sold out. Why? Because we sent everybody over there, and then Etsy showed a bunch of their people, and this person was like, what? So good. So good. We have seen so many people have a hidden listing be shown when we send traffic there. Okay. So yes. And if you're not following, like I own a blog, like we have a place of influence called How Does She? Blog we started 14 years ago. That's how I learned how to do this. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Maybe I should start some stores. And so I've started stores, worked with other people of influence and grown their stuff too. So I see both sides of it, and it's worked for 14 years. And again, like we did it on Wednesday. It keeps working year after year after year. And I don't know if you're like me, but I like to learn concepts that are going to be lifetime. I don't want to learn fad marketing because that's going to be not worth it in a year or two. I want to learn solid concepts that are going to last me for generations and generations to keep making sales, like Nike, right? Michael Jordan keeps getting a paycheck. Nike keeps making money. The stores keep making a percentage over and over and over again. Okay. What is your niche, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, Leslie, I've sold so much stuff and still sell stuff. You want to see one product? You guys are going to laugh. I'll show you two. Okay. One of my sites, we sold French fry boxes. Here's an example right here. We sold like containerfuls of French fry boxes. I'm not kidding. And then blocks of wood, stupid blocks of wood. Yeah. Like you can sell anything. And then one of our newer products is a face cream. Lotion, wash, serum, and a mask. So I love this game. I love it. I've been in it a long time, and I don't plan to leave anytime soon because it's so fun. All right. So, okay, I showed you this one right here, but on this example right here, I just showed 5 dots. Remember that listing I just showed you with what, 573 dots? Imagine how much traffic. 573 dots. Imagine how many people Etsy showed, right? Oh, it's great. Just magic. Just magic. Okay. So you, my friends, though, you actually have an added bonus. So another thing that I think is so cool, and I love sharing this with you right now, is because of how smart you are, because you're using EHunt. You are learning how to set your listings up with the right keywords so that Etsy can actually see what it is that you're selling. So we've had people, we list their products. It's like a little bump in sales, or it's a bump in sales, whatever for them, but they don't have their keywords set up. They don't have their tags set. They don't have any of that set up. And so it kind of filters away because Etsy's like, that was cool, but I don't know what it is. So use EHunt, make sure you got that solidified. So when you do throw traffic over, Etsy can be like, oh, it goes in this category. It needs to go here. We need to show the right people for it. So you guys actually are going to have a double win. Now you know that influencers drive traffic, so Etsy sees you. And then for Etsy to keep seeing you, use EHunt to make sure you've got all things squared away on the back end. Ultimate partnership, friends, ultimate partnerships. Okay, so homework number 2. I'm going to give you homework number 2 right here. I want you to find 10 people of influence you would like to build a relationship with. Okay, when you're scrolling, you are watching people sell, but it might not be in your niche, right? If you're selling earrings, don't sell them to a fisherman, but watch the fisherman talking about how they're selling, right? We're watching the magic trick. Then I want you to find who are 10 people of influence that you could potentially start working with. Okay, now I'm going to give you a framework of who I look for with influencers. They have to be able to hit all of these things. And if they don't, then I don't work with them. Why? Because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time. I want to grow a long-lasting partnership. I don't want a one and done. I want someone who's going to keep promoting me time and time and time and time again. It's just easier that way. Easier for them, easier for me, easier for the listing to be able to keep driving in traffic. Okay, so I'm going to give you my F.I.N.D formula. Now, I know I've only got, I don't know, like 18 minutes left, and I want to do some questions and answers. So I'm just going to hit the highlights of this. But each one of these I could go into a ton of depth. So I know I'm just going to skim over them really quick, but it's going to give you a good place to start. Good place to start. Okay. All right. So following, this one is huge. You don't need to go after the big ones who are charging big bucks. The influencers that we are working with right now, a lot of them are just getting started. We call them nano influencers. They're under 10,000 followers. They're practicing. They're trying, they're figuring out how this game works, and they love working with businesses because they feel noticed, they feel seen, they get free product, they'll talk about them, and you start building these relationships, and then you get to grow together. And especially if you're just starting out, 10,000 followers isn't going to make or sell 1 million products. You couldn't fulfill the orders. So you've got to be able to do it in a way to be able to fulfill your orders. Okay, so I highly recommend starting at under 10,000. You're going to get more yeses. It's not going to be as expensive, and you're going to watch to see who's doing this correctly. I will personally, I'll go up to 100,000 followers, but I don't go after anybody over 100,000 followers at this point. Might change in the future, but as of today, what is working today? It's these nano influencers. It's because they have like a strong bond with the followers. It's not about mass market, it's just numb. When influencers get so big, their messages can become numb or diluted. Just like Joey, she 200 followers and sold 200 products. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Okay, next thing, interaction. Look at their comments. What are people saying? What are they bots? You want to make sure that this person is real. You want to make sure that they've got good communication and good interaction with their followers. If they post and ghost and don't reply to anybody, that's probably not who you're wanting to look for. Okay, next one, niche. Make sure you're selling in the right niche. If you're selling earrings, don't go expecting a fisherman to sell a ton of earrings unless they're talking about it for, I don't know, a gift or something. The fisherman's going to be selling fisherman supplies. Earrings don't make sense. Okay, so make sure you're in the right category, looking for the influencers who specialize in the product that you are selling. Okay, and then the last one, this one's a really fun one. You want to look at the details. And one of the details is, are they selling other people's products? You want them to be selling other people's products. Why? Because their customers are used to it. Their followers are used to it. And a lot of people feel sales is hard, and so they shy away from it. We don't want those people. We want those people that are excited to sell your product or someone else's product. So I'll look for hashtag ad in posts. On Instagram, you know how they have little highlight bubbles? If one of their highlight bubbles has links to stores, that's a good sign. But anything that they're selling a product or they're writing hashtag ad, that's a really good sign. So those are a couple of the details that I look for. If they don't have them, I don't. So if they've got a large following, they're out. If it kind of feels like they're posting and then ghosting, not answering back, they're out. If it's not in the same niche, they're out. And then if they're not selling other people's products, I'm out as well. And so what I'll do is I'll take a chunk of time. Well, actually now I just pay for someone to do it, because you can pay a VA to do this really, really quickly for you. Or if you just take 10 minutes a day, scroll through and you're like, okay, these are the 10 influencers that I would like to reach out to. Don't have to make it complicated. It can be super, super easy to be able to find these influencers. Okay, so I want to just catch up to what we've been talking about. So the unfair advantage to get higher listings, number one, the fad marketing we don't do. We want something long lasting. That's a partnership. Okay. And then we don't want to take years to get algorithmed, right? Use people of influence, influencers, creators, bloggers, to drive traffic and sales to your listing, to let Etsy know, hi, I'm here. And Etsy's gonna be like, I see you. You're making me money. I'm going to make you more money. Okay. And then the bonus, without creating tons of content for social media, this is such a big bonus when you work with influencers, is they're the ones creating content. You're in the business to make sales. You are in the business to get your product into your customers' hands to make their life better. People of influencers, creators are in the business of creating. So why don't you just work with them and let them do the creation, especially all you introverts out there that don't want to do it. Or if you're like, I got to post again, this is exhausting. Let people who literally study this, who dive in and create content, team up with them. Right? You don't have to learn how to do it. Just find someone who already does it. So this is an example of a bunch of influencers selling. It's a map. It's from one of my coaches. And she's selling a map where you scratch off where you've been. She got scads of content from this. And then she just asked the influencer, can I repost this? And they're like, yeah, totally fine. Okay. And then here's another big bonus that I think is fantastic. Now, okay, wait, I need to go back to the content. That content, if you're not posting on social media, you don't have to. Okay, you've got an Etsy listing, they're doing a lot of the traffic generation for you. But imagine if you put this in your listing and you've got some influencer talking about your product, someone comes to your listing and they see a bunch of people talking about your product or holding your product. It just looks more valid. It doesn't look so spammy. It looks like people are loving it and it builds that trust. And so that's another huge benefit that we could talk about. But I want to get to this next thing, is pitch ideas. This one is so incredibly valuable because you're going to send your product to a customer. And sure, you can give them some talking points, but these influencers, these creators are going to talk about your product in ways you never even imagined that they would do it. I was talking to a gal, she sells dead stuff. And it's dead palm tree leaves. Her story is so fun. And she was like, okay, I'm trying to figure out how to sell these dead palm tree leaves. So she sent them to an influencer. The influencer gave her these magical, beautiful pictures. And now she's created more money than a doctor in a year by selling dead stuff. And she was just like this brain, she was stuck in this, like, I got something, but I can't figure it out. But these influencers did, and now she's created this amazing, beautiful business. So for instance, these letters right here, she sent these to an influencer. This is one of my coaches, and they did best teacher ever. They were giving them, these are great teacher gifts. These are great teacher gifts. And then another one, W is for Mrs. White, happy holidays. Again, another teacher gift. So it was super fun for her to watch these influencers. What would they do with them? They're not just wearing them, they're giving them as gifts. So I thought that was super fun. Okay. And then another one, Shop Resin Molds. She has turned all of her followers into influencers. Why? Because anybody on Instagram more than likely has more than 1 or 2 people following them. And so what she does is she's like, if you post any of my stuff, I'll repost it in my feed. And people go nuts and batty and super excited about it. And so she has grown a massive business by letting her followers be her influencer. It's pretty cool. Pretty darn cool. Okay, let's see. Okay, so what I want to do is, I know I've got lots of messages down. I want to spend the last 10 minutes answering any questions, but I just want to make sure that you guys see the potential of this. Okay, the nitty gritty, again, I can't cover that in an hour. There's just no way, but I wanted you to see, and I wanted to give you a place to start, right? The F.I.N.D formula. Diving down into that, finding 10 people to start working with, smaller influencers in your niche of people that are already selling. Okay, so let me know, how did I do? Did I help you out with the F.I.N.D marketing by knowing partnerships the way to go? Or you don't have to wait to get algorithms, like just speed it up. Let's go drive people to your listings. And then the huge bonus is you can have influencers create products for you. Okay, oh yeah, so the question is, what can you do? Your 2 homework assignments, okay? Watch others, you're watching the magician, how are they doing it? And then number 2, you're gonna find others who you'd like to partner with, not famous people, okay? And then of course we have to come in with extra credit. You okay if I do extra credit? Yeah. Okay, so about 2 months ago, I did something for my community. I called it the Influencer Blitz. And it was 3 days, and we talked about more details of how to find specific converting influencers. We want to partnership with people who convert, who can sell the product. And we really dove into it. And we created a workbook, and we created a tech support for people that have questions. And last week I was with my team, and I'm like, can we give that to the people that join this? And so what we did is we put it together. It's $97, but I'm not going to charge you that. It's just $7. It's $7. That helps me for my team. We've got I'll be in the back end answering text questions, text messages, and my team, my coaches will be. We just want to be able to support you and get you everything that you need, because we knew this 1 hour wasn't going to be enough. Okay, so if you want it, you can go to influencerblitz.com, use the coupon code ETSY, and it will give you $90 off. You just pay $7 so I can pay my team. And then that code expires in 3 days. Okay. And again, we go dive into it. And then here's the deal. I'll throw in this, like if you get to the end of it and you don't like it, I'll guarantee I'll give you your money back. That's how much, like, I want you guys to make so much money that you don't know what to do with it, except give it away, because you're putting more value out into the world. The world needs more value. And it's just these little tricks. We learn these games. We learn how the game is played, and it takes our business to an entirely new level. I was a junior high school teacher, and now I've built over 4 multi-million-dollar businesses. Why? Because we can. I know the game. We just play the game, and it's awesome. We just know the rules. I have the cheat book, and I want to show it to you. Okay, so let's go. I did bring my sister on. Hi, Annie. She's the one I taught my daughters first, then second taught Annie, and she's built so many businesses and built and sold so many businesses. And I asked her to come on and write questions down. Just so I make sure that I get everybody's questions, because you guys can see I'm pretty animated and I get in the zone quite a bit. So Annie, do you want to come in and let's answer people's questions?
Sure. Okay, I screenshotted a few and put them over on my notes section. One person was asking about how much are influencers to work with? Are they expensive? Yeah, talk about that.
Such a great question. So if you reach out to an influencer and they're like, I charge thousands and thousands of dollars, I run. I don't want to work with those people. Or if they come back and they just say, oh, I specialize in what's the word I'm looking for? People just seeing your product. I don't specialize in sales. Don't work with them. There's plenty of influencers who are really good with sales and can make such a beautiful connection with it. And so a lot of these new ones, they just want to start with a product. And then what I want to do, my goal eventually is to make them a lot of money, because if I'm making them a lot of money, they're going to post a lot more. And so what I'll do is I'll usually start with about 10%. And then if they're doing well, then I'll do like a cookie, and I'm like, hey, if you sell this much, then I'll give you 12%. And if you sell this much, I'll give you 13%. But this is based on margins, right? If your margins stink, you can't give that much away. So you got to go back and work on your margins so that it is possible. So great question. Great question. And again, like my goal is to create these partnerships. And influencers, they don't make money unless they're creating partnerships. That's just how it works. They're constantly working with brands to be able to get paid for the stuff that they're posting. Instagram doesn't pay, Facebook doesn't pay, TikTok doesn't pay. They have to work with businesses. So they're literally looking for people like you to work with.
Great. Okay, next question is, how do I manage all these partnerships? Do you have a good way to keep them straight?
Yeah, Google Docs. And okay, can I just give you my Google Doc? This is the one, I wasn't gonna do this, but I think it's very appropriate. This is the one I gave to my team when we're selling our face stuff. I said, okay, fill this out. And we just manage everything on Google Doc. It's beautiful, it's simple. And so the link, it's becauseIcanlife.com/influencer. And promise me that you won't share it with other people, Dill. Like, let's go honesty here. Okay, karma's a beast. This is just for you guys. Again, I wasn't going to give it out, but you asked a question and I really like to help people. So I'll get that to you. Okay.
Okay, great. I just put that link in the chat. Hopefully it works.
Perfect.
And then it says your page is not working. Hang on. I'll put the right link. Let me ask one more question and I'll find the right link. Okay. Someone asked, how do I keep, let's see, I do digital artwork. How can I find partnerships with digital artwork?
Oh my gosh. So great. So an example would be, what if you do digital artwork, what if you reached out to an influencer, and I've got to be careful not to tell the exact story because I have someone doing it right now in my community. And they said, hey, your branding is amazing. Would you want to go in on doing a digital product together? And so it's like a co-branded product. Killed it. And because it's co-branded, that influencer keeps talking about it over and over. And she literally created her own ATM machine because that influencer is so excited to talk about it. So is there something that you can do to incorporate that person's product? And again, you may have a little bit higher of a margin, but it's a digital product. So you've probably got lots of margin to play around with on that one. Beautiful question. You guys are fun. I hope you message me on Instagram, just Alison J Prince, and let me know how this is working, because seriously, make money. So just make money. Okay, what else?
Right. James just posted that in the chat. So thanks, awesome. James. All right, let me see what else I've got. All right. We just answered the partnership, and then I thought I saw one come in towards the end.
Oh, I just found one from Rick.
Okay, great.
Track of cells. So there's some technology that you can use. When we started in the beginning, like with my girls, they weren't tech savvy at all. And the last thing that I wanted to do was teach them about that. I mean, you get to a point, yes, you do need technology. When we first got started, we just used a code. So for instance, like my blog, How Does She? When we work with businesses, we'll use the code How Does She? And so the business knows that it's us that's promoting it. And so we just get screenshots. My girls did the same thing. They just used the influencer's name or an abbreviation and then did screenshot and said, oh, you sold 3,000, you sold 25, whatever the number was. And then that's how we'd keep track of it just in the beginning. But then there's technology once you get bigger with it.
Okay, great. Another question is, I have an extremely niche market. Is that good or bad?
So good. It's so good. If you sell to everyone, you sell to no one. You want to be niche. Like niche, because then you're going right to your target market. Like I think about these French fry boxes, and this was a very niche product, because when you think about French fry boxes, they're in what, half of minivans across the world. I mean, French fry boxes from McDonald's. And so what I did is I went towards a niche of new moms that are exhausted that had to do a bake sale. So this is what I said, because I was trying to solve a problem. I was trying to help a new mom survive. And if you've ever been a part of a bake sale, like I think bake sales are there to make at least me feel like crap because I can't bake, right? And so I'm trying to bake and it's a hot mess and my kitchen's a mess and all the things. And so I'm like, oh, French fry boxes. Why don't you just go to the store, put your favorite cookies in here, tie a bow around it, take these to the bake sale. They're all going to sell out because they're the cutest and that's what the kids really want. You become queen of the bake sale. You come home, your kitchen's clean. We sold hundreds of thousands of French fry boxes. That was just one of the stories that we told. And my niche, it wasn't restaurants. It was exhausted new moms who had to do bake sales. Like, bleh. And if you like to bake, good for you. I just don't like to.
Okay, great. I'm scrolling through. I think we got all of the questions. If anyone had one up above that we missed, go ahead and write it again. But I think scrolling through, we got most of them or all of them. Do you see anything we skipped through or saw any?
There's just a statement that she's agreeing to spend. Leslie is, it's a tough market right now because of that. I don't know what that is, but reaching out to people like myself that prefers buying from actual artists. I'd like to, my guess, okay, here's Sven's. My guess is that printable wall art will be ultra competitive, even more now with a flood of AI artists jumping onto the Etsy train now. Okay, so the AI artists, they don't have relationships with these influencers. You, Sven, and Leslie are the ones that can create this partnership, this relationship, a real life thing that AI can never do, right? This is why you can do so much better now and in the future, because you're working with a real life human who's creating the product, who's driving that traffic to your specific link and not anybody else's, letting Etsy know, I'm here, right? This is why this is the unfair advantage, because AI creators, they don't do this. They don't do this. And then if you do something with that influencer that is acceptable, you've agreed to use their favorite words or a little bit of their marketing, that influencer, that's like a true partnership right there. So don't think that this is like, this isn't bigger competition. Like, you learning this game is creating this blue ocean where not a lot of people are at because they've given up on it. They think it's too hard and all the other crap that they have in their head. I'm literally telling you, this is happening right now. I'm seeing it with my business, with my students' businesses. You can sell a lot of product when you team up with these influencers, and that sets you way far apart. Okay, so that was my little spiel. Like, it's there. I'm literally watching this happen, unfold. I did 14 years ago and to today. It never goes away. Relationships with a real life human being, that's never going to go away. AI can make stuff all that it wants to, but sales is really about building that partnership, and it's a whole new ballgame. Whole new ballgame. Okay. You tell I'm passionate about this stuff, you guys.
Okay, another one came in, said, what about being promoted in blogs?
Yes, you can. Blogging, I'll just tell you now, isn't as popular. It takes SEO. It takes a little bit more work, but I mean, once it's SEO'd, then it's great. But if you want to go faster, then I would get into people's social media. Social media is more, it's a lot faster. You've got to do it more repetitive, where blogs like the long-term game, but see if they'll do both. See if they'll do both. So blog is long-term game. Social media is a short-term game. Good question.
Great. And then the influencerblitz.com belongs to you. Yes, it belongs to Alison.
Yeah, it's us working together for 3 days. And then I'm bringing in, I've got a coach, a couple coaches that come in. And we have a workbook for you. So you can go through the workbook, knock it all out. And then we actually opened up we call it a BFF biz, your BFF biz. And just text us. So if you have questions, it's not like it goes dead. Like, I'm in there answering questions. Annie's in there. We got James on here. And we got a couple other of our coaches helping because we truly are. I'm addicted to people's results. I want you guys to make this happen because it's right there. So let's go. Let's go.
I like Dan's comment. He said, this is awesome. Never considered this at all. Was going to try and be the influencer. Love the shortcut. Yes.
Okay, so you still, Dan, if you still want to be the influencer, you can. This is a great hack to get going faster. Have the influencer start talking about you and send traffic to your influencer, wherever, like Instagram, Facebook, wherever. You can use this to grow even faster than just waiting for the algorithm to pick you up. Like algorithms are so slow. Don't wait for that. Use influencers to either, I mean, if you're trying to grow your Instagram or your Facebook, use Instagram to drive traffic, or use influencers to drive traffic to whatever you want to grow. Influencers are like the water to a plant. Like, let's let them grow. I guess, no, go faster. Miracle grow to your stuff.
Okay. And then Kimberly asked, what's a good offer for an influencer compared to profit margin?
So okay, so I'll tell you this. Amazon used to be 10%. This was before 2020, and a whole bunch of influencers were super happy to work with Amazon because 10% was great. And then Amazon decided one day to say, no, we're gonna pay you 3%, maybe 4%. And a lot of influencers lost their entire business and they quit because they just weren't making any money for 3 to 4%. So if you can go back and start at a 10%, that's pretty standard because it's like double, even triple what Amazon does. And then you can start building out that cookie. But it depends on your margins. And you've got to have, like, if your margins are 3%, then we got to talk, like, get those margins up. Like at least a 35% margin, if not higher. We got to get those margins up so that you can do things like this. And then in the long term, like if you're sticking those cards in your packages or sending emails or communicating with your customers over the long term, that's your ATM, the second, third, fourth, fifth sell. I mean, that's where you start seeing real wealth in your businesses. So fun. So fun.
All right, Alison, I think we got them.
Fantastic.
All the questions.
Perfect. Okay. So if you have any questions at all, you can ask me on Instagram, Alison J Prince, influencerblitz.com. And, I've got a website, Alison J Prince. But yeah, let me know how I can help you. I want you guys to be successful, get your products out there to the world, change the world. This was so much fun. So thank you. Thanks for hopping on. Thanks for all your questions. So, all right. Thanks everyone.